cool. So, we're live here on YouTube with Jay Trader, bro. And dude, I can't tell you how like freaking pumped I am. Like, this is the first time that we've talked since I've had my room, and and I kind of graduated the Jay Trader room. Like, you know what I mean? So
Yeah,
I'm like
yeah,
a graduate. So it's
yeah,
pretty cool, man.
cool, buddy.
Thank you for taking the time to do this for us. Um, yeah, so we haven't talked a little bit, man. I seen you got married, bro. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
I
Actually,
think
my wife is from Colorado.
I know, dude. I think it's really cool. So we're gonna fight over who has the best green chili later. We'll make some green chili pasta, bro. So
Yeah,
but yeah, one thing. So a couple things. I think that with you, I took notes, bro. Look, I took notes. Um, I think for us traders, it's really hard for a woman to be with someone that's a trader, right? So like, it's really, we act out. We're really stressful. So, kudos, for her, and congratulations again, bro. Um,
thank you.
but what do
She
they call it?
understands me.
She what?
She understands me. When you
Understands
have
you?
a bad day, you don't feel
Exactly.
for anything else. Like maybe you have a bad loss, you're
Exactly.
stressed, and maybe she wants to go out, and you just say, "No, fuck, I just want to relax on the sofa. I'm pissed. I did so many stupid errors, and you really don't feel like not even going to train or nothing else." And she stays there. Okay, she say, okay, she understands you. So it's very important.
Yeah, exactly. So, that's exactly what I mean is that it's like it's pretty crazy to have someone like that understands you and actually supports you and stuff. It takes a special kind of woman. So and I think these types of women are the ones that make the best traders. You know what I mean? That could be the best, most supportive. That's
It's
why my
true.
ass is single, bro. um,
How they say, behind every great man, there's a great woman.
exactly,
So
bro. Exactly.
you're still young. How old are you?
Uh,
24, 25?
no, dude, I'm 31 now, man.
Oh, okay. Still much more younger than me. I'm 30, going for 39. So, and right now, just in the middle of coronavirus over here in Italy, because you know that is widespread, and where I live, also they found some cases. I mean, I'm not worried about it. Um, I think it's just like some flu is so much pumped from this overall market, and I was reading so many tweets about there's tweets about conspiracy and all this stuff, saying that this was wanted. This is I don't know what to think. I have my theories. The thing I what I'm sure is that there's so just like wrong news out there, and some people are using the information that are coming from the growth source in a bad way, and then there's a panic. So where I live is like a very small country, and a couple of days ago I went just like to purchase, to buy some groceries. Always I go buy groceries on Monday morning, and it was simply crazy. There was nothing over there. I mean, I was looking
Oh
for
wow.
rice. There was no rice. I went to the cashiers. There was a line like I never saw like that, like 2 days before Easter when everybody wants to get the food for the dinner. And I never saw like the people over here just like rushing and panicking like that. I think is like just a little bit more um, emotional than what it really seems. They said the virus hits like 2% of the population. I mean, 2% is deadly, and normal like flu, it's almost like the same or even less. So it's not a big deal. But anyways, what about you? I heard the first case in America.
Yeah, there's just someone that died in like I think Washington or Washington D.C. and it's more towards the North Pacific, Northwest Pacific, and there's a lot of like Asian culture there. Here in New Mexico. There's not so many Asians and things like that. So I don't know if it'll get like that here, but it's
But
man.
right now in Italy, it's just like spread from Italians, so you have to watch out. Okay, must, buddy.
Yep.
What's out if I cough today, all right?
You know what? Like, I just, with everything, like, I think, when it's my day, it's my day. You know what I mean? Like, if God says I'm gonna go that day, I have probably more of a chance of getting hit by a car outside than getting coronavirus probably, and
Yeah.
I'm not gonna, stop my day to day life. If something happens, and like you said, it is more like flu-like stuff, and it's not. I think it's more hurting, the elderly and like the young kids and stuff, and it's definitely something that it could be prevented. You wash your hands, use some hand sanitizer, drink your vitamin C, and you'll definitely be good. So
Yeah,
yeah.
that's true. I have my vitamin C every morning over here, being that I train, so that is very important. And by the way, the people that were like killed in Italy, I mean, that died in Italy from the virus, they were people with already some kind of sickness or pre-existing condition. I heard that a baby girl, just like near where I live, she was 11, she died, but she had also some kind of immunodeficiency. So that is sad, because it attacks like the weaker part of the population. And I think that they say in a couple of months, we every day we trade these biostock companies. They're coming out with vaccines. They work in vaccines, all pumped. Just look at CODX, CNXP, BLRX, what we had, ALT, and others. And they're saying they're working. And also, the president said that you don't have to worry that they're working on a vaccine. Well, instead, a scientific committee is saying that for a vaccine, generally, you need at least 18 months. So till like the mid of next year, 2021, we cannot see any kind of, uh, like some vaccine for the mass, because they need to experiment. They need like to see
Yeah.
the results of these studies. So they say that just to calm the population, to like keep it calm, like nothing crazy to go on, but it's just bullshit. I mean, I don't believe all these companies, even in Italy, they say they in 3 months we'll have a vaccine. I don't know what's kind of vaccine. I don't know.
No, I mean, we, when I was in your room, especially, it takes years to get an FDA approval, even on, the BS, fast track designations and things like that. So, it doesn't make sense, for them to have it. It's just gonna have to, play itself out.
Yeah, we will
Um,
see some kind of phase one, two, and three also for this, and you know how long and how expensive they are.
exactly. So I have a couple notes here, man. I know you're straight up J trader. You like to get into business talking about the coronavirus and stuff. But something that I think that I did my research, and I think you've turned out the most pro traders in your room, right? You have the most
Yeah,
prop traders, I
pretty.
think.
I'm happy because the guys that are working over here, I mean, I see yourself, you're doing very good, buddy. I'm really proud of what you
Thank you,
like
bro.
been achieving. And my point is just like, I see a lot of traders out there that they basically don't have a strategy. So uh, my first goal for the members of the room is to teach them like some solid stuff, how I trade, what is my experience, not only, entry, exit alerts. That is not going to help you in your life, but you need to know basically to make your process, your strategy, even your like rules of risk management, which is very important right now. Seeing like all these peoples over here, even some friends in the last weeks that they have blown up, you know. And it's something that you think it's like a sickness. You say, "Oh no, that won't hit me," that won't happen to
Exactly.
me, that won't happen, and instead it can really happen to you.
Yep.
And I mean, it's scary because I have a friend. I'm not going to say his name for sure, but he lost quite a bit, and it's something happened to me in the past, and it happened maybe to everybody in the past, maybe even more than one. And you have to be prepared. So only by having a strategy, only by knowing what you have to do in certain scenarios will help you prevent this, or at least like reduce it. Like instead of taking a loss that will like blow up your account, maybe you take like 5% loss of your account, and you're safe with that.
Exactly. It would definitely was not an easy week, man. I woke up on well, I watched the futures because usually we did the the podcast last Sunday and I watched the futures Sunday night, and then I knew it was going to go down, and then not as crazy as it did, but then it did happen, and then I remember, the obviously, I don't have a lot of it, as long as experience as you and like other traders or what have you. But the nearest thing I could compare it to was when we had the drop in 2018 in December, and from November to December, and then I knew how to act towards it. So like I told my traders like it's even if you don't trade, like the experience behind it, and you see like the emotion and the way that the reaction behind everything, like it's invaluable because then you have that experience. For the people that don't have experience, that are the free commission traders now, and things like that, that just jumped in, and that I relatively new. I hope everyone's all right. Like I don't want anything bad to happen. Even profiting off of coronavirus doesn't quite feel right. I know there's a lot of debate on that. But yeah, so that was one thing I just wanted to congratulate you. That's pretty awesome. That it makes me feel really proud to be from your room. And I talk about you. I don't know if you listen to my stuff out all the time, but I talk about that.
Yeah,
I'm
I
from your
listened
room.
to it. And first of all, I have to thank Smash a bit because he
Yeah,
helped me a
Smash
lot in the
too.
beginning when I made my transition. And yeah, now I can say five guys. They went to work for prop firms. The last one, CL Trader. He was the last member of the room. Now he's working for 7 Point Capital. And just like about coronavirus, it's important to say that the first to buy the stocks are the one who are making the most of the money. Because example, ALT or CODX, I mean the first buyers being the first in this market will, if you're long, will allow you to make money. If you chase, well, you can have look Friday those drops, IBO that we had, ALT, CODX, AHBI. So when they start dropping, really it was a massacre. And the other thing that I think that the majority of traders undervalue is to know when to exit. It's very important always to know when to enter, but nobody knows when to exit. And that is, I mean, I think as much as important and knowing when to enter.
Yeah, so that's something me and Devon talked about last week. Is that your system is very here's your entry, here's your risk, and then this is your profit target. And mine is like I know in football, like it's almost like in football they run an option play. So if you see this, then you can react to it and do a certain thing. Mine is a little bit more discretionary, but yours is at this point you better get out, or else you may get screwed, and then it's your own fault. So that's one cool thing, and that's what for especially for beginners is awesome because you're greedy, or you get scared, or whatever, that you actually have a point that you could hold to. And for me it's a little bit like, okay, like you could hold a little bit longer, but you need to be able to read this and see that this is your reason for staying in. And that's a like a little, I don't want to say it's more advanced, but there's more risk to it. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, I just want, and like I said, I just want to thank you. Like I think out of all the rooms, I learned the most in your room, and I think everyone could agree with that. That I think you're the most underrated mentor out there. I have some nicknames for you. I call you the Sultan of the Short Sell, Maestro of the Mentors, and the Beast of the Bench Press, bro. What do you think, bro?
That's definitely for sure, buddy. I'm still waiting. I'm still waiting for the workout together.
Yeah, bro. You know what? I told Pedro jumps in my room every now and then, and I told him, we'll have to all go to your house out there whenever you have one of your meetups or whatever. So eventually, man. Um, so I have just not to like hear the kind of with the podcast, more like what I want to do is be able to show like the value between the rooms that we could help as a community, instead of like, oh, you're from this room and this room, and there's a divide in there. So I got a couple of questions here. So
Sure.
if Jay Trader was not trading, what would you be doing?
Uh, Professional bodybuilding.
Professional bodybuilding. What happened that you stopped training, or you stopped um, competing?
Okay, so I still train, and like I'm doing, I think like almost professionally right now. Just I don't step on the stage, so I don't do the last 2 3 months. When you have like to only focus on that, because that is simply impossible for me for the amount of stress I have with the trading to put it together with also the trading. Um, I mean, if you want to do one thing good, you can do it. Both things, it will be like maybe 50%. That's why I chose trading. I prefer the money, and training is like just an hobby. So I go every morning over here. I live in Europe, so every morning I go there, work out 1 or 2 hours, follow my diet. Just was talking yesterday with Big Ramy, and he's a good friend of mine. So the things I'm doing, they work pretty good. Simply love the gym, and that mental aspect, like you're focused, you have all your meals divided, you have your goals. The same thing, I bring that methodology, that analytical way to do the things into my work or everything I'm doing. That's just like my kind of mentality. Like I have to be programmed. I have to have some goal. I need to go for something in my life. If I don't have a goal, if I just like do things like this,
It has to be a
also
challenge.
trading. Exactly, exactly. Then I don't do things like with the right perspective, with the right emotions, feelings. I need to have the drive, when I do things.
Yeah, so that's I like to lift weights too. So I'm more of a fat boy than you. I think I didn't get the model body like you. So, um,
That doesn't matter as long as you lift.
and
As
then
long as you
I don't
lift.
know how you keep it up. Your wife is always cooking all kinds of good stuff, man. Like she's
Yeah,
a baker, right? Like she's always
man.
cooking all the good stuff, and you're still staying in shape.
Yeah, man. I had, because she's American and she's from Colorado. She likes to bake. I bought this big machine for her for Christmas, with thousands of things that you can do. But now she does only chicken breast, egg whites, brown rice, potatoes, yeah, steaks, beef, fish. That's all I eat all day. And when I work, being I have an office over here in my house, she brings me the food over. So just like, think when you have a girlfriend that at least she does some part of this for you,
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm
if
talking
she's
about.
not working. And that's a really good help. So I trade, I stop 5 minutes, I eat, and then I do this thing again over and over and over.
Um, So you think so and so I believe it's the law of diminishing returns where the more you focus on different things, right? The more that you're less focused and the less return that you get. So like the same thing, like if you're focusing on 20 tickers, right? You have a huge watch list of everything and you're just chasing everything. You're probably not going to nail anything, right? But
It's
if you're
true.
just watching the tickers, um, and I call it building a relationship with the ticker because every ticker moves differently, right? And so you kind of build like a relationship and you understand the way that it moves, and that's why like a lot of traders have a do not trade list, right? So like I don't trade MBEV from the cannabis days. I got worked on it, and there's some that you build that rapport and that relationship that every time it pops up on your scanner, it's gonna do this. So I agree with you because that's why like right now like I was losing a lot of weight, but then I wanted to focus on my business and my trading, and I haven't been going to the gym as much. It's only like when I need to go stress relief and stuff.
I
Um,
know that feeling.
but do you? I think if we could talk about that a little bit, like when you're in the gym and then you have a lot of weight on the bar, you kind of have this dialogue in your head, like like I could just go home and watch TV and not do this. You know what I mean? And I think it's the same thing like when you're in a trade, is that I don't have to use a stop loss, like it'll be okay, like you know what I mean, like or I don't have to do this. And
That's true.
so maybe talk about like how in the gym, that dialogue in your head translates in the discipline over, that you should use in your trading and stuff.
It's true. For me, it's all about discipline, and it's all about how much you want something. It's just not like every other job. I mean, if I'm like in an office, I work for maybe the government over here in Europe. Even you sit down like this, you smoke a cigarette. Well, now it's not anymore allowed, but basically you do nothing. That's what I mean. You still get a paycheck. If you're trading for a living, you need really to work your ass off and to make your money every single day. and you even have like the double sword because that you can even lose your money. So that's even more difficult than a normal job. And training is the exact same thing. I mean, if you go over there in the gym and just like talk with your girlfriend, your phone, or your buddies, you play there, you watch the newspaper. I mean, I can do that when I finish my training, I stay there. I'm the most like funny guy. I talk with my friends, with my wife. She comes with me. But when I'm training, it's like when I'm trading 100% commitment. I'm there. There's only that goal that day to close green, that only that day to do my sets, write down how much I'm lifting each set so next time I can improve. And it's the same thing when you basically trade each time or every 2 weeks. Every 2 weeks, you can add a little bit more size when you're a little bit more confident in that scenario, in that market. So it's very important to have a plan, you know. Do I step in the gym without having a plan? Okay, maybe sometimes because I know already what I have to do, maybe for that week, 2 weeks. Otherwise, I always have a plan. I don't go by feelings. It's like in the market, don't go by feelings. So every morning, I remember this. I was coming back from a trip in Italy. It was like my 3 o'clock afternoon, so it's like your 9 a.m. In New York. So I think you're in Texas. That's like your uh, 7, right?
7, yeah.
Yeah. So I was in time for the market open, but I didn't have my plan ready. And it's like, it's like when you have a prayer in the morning, you need to do those things. So if I don't have my plan ready, my scans, read my news, dig in my filings, look at the chart, I can simply trade. And I was there, I just like was analyzing the trade, the setup for the room, for the bodies like this, but I didn't simply take one trade because I don't feel confident. And I know if I'm not confident in something, is the time I will lose the money. Is when the same thing happens to me when I'm in gym. And as I said, I do it like pretty professionally in the way I do it. So it's like if I say, I don't feel good that day, I didn't sleep, I didn't rest good, I didn't eat my proper meals before, and I go there and I push 100%. No, I know that maybe I can tear some, I can get like, a strain or whatever. And that's the reason for me to always have my daily routine before I do something, you know? So you have my paper every day. I update it what I have to do tomorrow. For example, today I'm here with you. I was just looking at Finbiz, the most percent gains of last week. So I prepared those. I have the earnings. My friend Ors sends me each week which earnings I want to focus on. And I know that you do the same, you know. And the thing you said about focusing on a couple of things a day, yeah, it's very important. Just yesterday, one of my friends in the room, Sneji, he follows you by the way. He's from Singapore. He was telling that he had a very good week, but he also had some losses, and the losses came from when he did boredom trades, when he traded after the first 2 hours, and when he stepped out of his confidence zone, and when he traded more than two tickers. And another friend, he's the guy that I'm putting on Twitter, Mac Trader, right? He doubled his account in 2 months, small account, trading 10K. He made almost 10K in 2 months. So that's very good. And he trades only large caps. And he said, I did 70% of my trading good. The 30% I did bad is because I started over trading. And one morning
Exactly.
I had not two stocks. Like, I know that you trade, even you, two stocks, you focus much on them. No, he had like 10, 15 tickers. And then even if he had good trades, but he couldn't manage because he goes simply crazy. And it happens to me sometimes. Yes, I try to avoid it always because I know that that will be like, that will push my mind crazy. And I need to have one, two stocks every morning, small caps, one, two stock for large caps, one future. That's it. That's all I do every morning.
Yeah, so the way that I do mine is that like these are like my absolute, like I'm playing them, like they're on my, I'm for sure have my setup, and I'm this is how I'm gonna play it. And then these are like, okay, maybe these will set up, and then if it does set up, then I'll, and it alerts me, then I'll go ahead and trade it. And then the rest are just on the back burner, like you know what I mean, like I'll have them and I'm looking at them, but they're not necessarily something that are like A plus setups, or that I'm drooling over to get in or anything like that. But I think that's especially mentoring. it's the biggest thing that I see is that is for the new traders is that they'll they're $100 isn't enough, you know what I mean? So then they want to go and make 200 or however much, and then it spirals, and then it's a red day, and I'm like, if you're making $100 on a $2,000 account, that's 10%. That's really good. There's funds that don't do 10% in a year. You know what I mean? So and you did it in a day. You know what I mean? That's really good. And I think that, and the cool thing, the cool thing I think for us as mentors or what have you, is that like we get to talk. So I get to talking and explaining, the setups and stuff after I'm done trading. Then I'm not actually focused on me actually trading, and so then I don't overtrade. So it's like kind of a benefit, and
Yes, true.
so it's cool to like if you have like someone that you could talk to after your trades and just recap instead of continuing to trade because I gotta yell at some of these guys sometimes. I'm like, you better not be trading. Like, I'm like, hit you upside the head if you guys are, you're still trading at this point. And but yeah, I think that's a huge thing is that the law of diminishing returns of, and just focusing on one thing, right? So even now, like I used, I traded a lot of the small caps with you, and now I'm more trading the options, and it's hard to like there's guys in my room that are members that like the small caps, but I like the options, and so but it's hard for me to be able to go like okay like it's a different mindset, trading the options from the actual the small caps, and to have to flip that and then look the other way. It's a little bit difficult. So I'm like, okay, like, and every almost I don't want to say every time, but almost most times when I start trading the small caps, I lose because I haven't done it and I'm rusty. You know what I mean? Like it's and luckily
It's a totally
they're just
different market. It's
exactly
totally different market. It's like trading futures and trading stocks. They're
exactly.
totally different. I was talking the other day with my friend about this, and he told me it's the same important reading the tape in stocks as in futures. Example, look the mini S&P, the yes. Well, if you start reading that tape, just looking at the level two and the times in sales is crazy for the huge amount of volume. And I simply, cannot read it like I read, for example, a tape on Netflix or on ALT, small cap penny stocks. So that's the reason why I focus maybe a little bit more on price action, on patterns, and using also bookmap. That is also useful. And what about you? You have a stock that you trade like every day. For example, I like Netflix and Tesla
Yep.
to have them on my screen every day because I feel like, like secure when I have them over there. I know
Yeah.
that I know they place those two, three setups and I focus on that. Maybe they happen once a week, maybe three times a week, and I just wait those. You have something like this?
Those are your babies. Like the thing about Netflix is right after the Disney Plus came out, the
Mm-hmm.
ATR on Netflix actually tightened up. It was like $11 to $10, and then it
Mm-hmm.
tightened up to like $5 or $6. And I was like, well, this stupid thing isn't offering the same range anymore. Like what I mean? It's almost not worth it. So I put it in the back burner. But now that that we've had the volatility that we have, and Netflix has actually shown a lot of relative strength through this last week.
Sure.
It's been awesome. It stays up higher than me on Viagra after 2 hours. So it's pretty cool to see how it'll react when the market actually starts going up again. That'll definitely probably be a really good play. But Netflix was one. Now that it's actually showing a little bit more volatility and range. Amazon on Fridays, I love. I know that you have what's Grim in your room. I
Yeah.
love watching her stuff. I got that from her Amazon on Fridays, and it's just cool because you could get lottos, because of for the same day expiration and the range that it presents, and you could get some cheapies and make some really good money on Fridays on Amazon because of the range it has. So I really like playing Amazon on Fridays. I always have that up on Fridays. Then of course Tesla. Man, I've been that's been my
I
bread
saw
and
you had
butter.
a very good couple of trades on that.
Yeah,
They
yeah,
pay the
man.
bills, right?
Yeah, and it's hard. Like, there's a lot of like I had a lot of people telling me, you need to short it, don't go the other way, and I'm like, the chart says to go long, and I had to mute a bunch of people on Twitter and things, um, I didn't want to go say like I told you, but it actually worked out really well, and me and you talked about it even. We talked about it last year, and I
I
was like, I don't know, I
remember.
don't
I
believe
still
this.
remember your message to me when it was, I think, 280,
Yeah,
270,
yeah.
something like this, and you told me, "Did you take long? This is a long," and then It went like to 370, 400, and then we had that breakout 550, 600, and then was like skyrocket. But
Yep.
I still don't, still not thinking that this is done in the
No.
medium term.
It's a
We
little
will
bit
go
harder
above
now that we actually
1,000.
have. It's a little bit harder now that we have the actual support and resistance lines, and we actually have overhead now. It's a little bit harder. So yeah, I try to stay patient and watch it. Um, so my next, so I think with us as mentors and traders, like a lot of people just see the success, right? So like a lot of people come and meet us, and see the success we have right now, and they didn't really see the struggle of coming up. Like, how many times when you're learning how to trade did you want to quit? How many times did you want to quit this week?
Well, this week no, but um, it tests you. For my behavior, when I was like learning, each time I was learning something different during the years, I never really wanted to quit. I never said that because that's not like my kind of spirit. But surely you have some days that you're down, and those days down that you want to make money, right? You want to make maybe a couple of hundred K a year, and you want that life. And in those moments that you're not like successful, you have like, it's bad to say, but you have like to lie to yourself a little bit. You have to tell yourself that you will get there, that you're doing it right, and even if it's not paying yet, that you have to continue that. Because if you start believing it, if you start believing yourself that you can do it every single day, then with the first progress that you will have, you will see that that is possible, and that is simply as work for me. If you don't like push a little bit more in yourself, if you stay always sitting in your seat, always the same exact thing, never adding a little bit more, never like trying a little bit more. This doesn't mean like you have to go out of your comfort zone blindly, right? Always having a plan. But if you do that, and you will be like a leader in what you're doing, then you can do it. And also the others that are following you, they will improve as well.
I think that's a lot. So words of affirmation with yourself, and it goes back to that dialogue you have with yourself too. And that was a really big and to my fault, is when I started being profitable, I just talked crap to everyone. I started, I think I rubbed a lot of people the wrong way about it, but I was just super proud of myself. You know what I mean? And I just, I just, I, um, I think you're a fan of Conor McGregor, right? So
Yeah, exactly.
he has a quote where he says where he's confident in preparation, and something in battle, and then humble in defeat. And that's exactly what it is being that overconfident and like I got this when you're preparing, and then being that when you're executing, having that confidence, and then also but when you actually wrong, and then you're hitting your stop loss, what have you, having that humility to say like I'm wrong and get out, and I think that says a lot to to have that. It's hard to have that balance. But I think there is a certain like swag. Like I don't think I've ever met a trader that's not confident. That's not kind of like like I'm really good. Like what I mean. Um, a successful trader, anyways. And that's what I think that you're saying is that those words that affirmation. I actually have a thing recorded on my phone. This is a tip. If I have myself talking to myself, a recording on my phone that I recorded, and it over and over again. It says I'm the best trader in the world, and I listen to it before I trade, and that was the way that like when you're in that mindset is like the whole thing that happened with Kobe and things recently. He had that mindset that he was that the best in the world, and nothing was going to stop him. But whenever like he took a beating, he definitely said like okay, like you beat me or whatever. He's super humble about it.
Yeah,
Um,
because you learn also from those times you are hit.
exactly. So I think that's really good. So for me, like I deal a little bit more with depression, anxiety. So like whenever I have a bad day, I take it really personal. Like I take it really bad. I used to take it out on a lot of people around me. I'm sure a lot of people could relate to that.
Bro,
Um,
happens to me still nowadays. You know what happened to me? frankly, I lost um, almost $3,000 on Tuesday because I was not cocky. I just went like, uh, with too much confidence on BVPR, and I didn't follow my rules. My rules were to go long. I don't know what happened with my mind. I simply could not see it, and I traded one time, lost almost 3K, and I said, "Fuck it," really huge error, and that was because I simply didn't respect myself, and I took my loss. Well, something I could get back the next 2 days. But whenever I have something like this, like opens my mind right away, opens my eyes, and I say, "What the fuck you're doing?" Like, uh, and I'm good in discipline. So if I didn't take a stop loss that day, I could have lost like 15K because if you told me this trade like in the beginning, I would be adding, 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 adding. Now I know that my daily max risk is 3,000. I got the 3,000 risk, and fuck it, because it's something that I can get back in 1 or 2 days of work. And so I know my risk. The problem is that many other traders, maybe with less experience, they don't know that risk. And you stay in and you start like praying. I mean, you pray if you are like in church or you're like at the Mecca. Not not really. If you're, how many times you pray? Tell me honestly that you said, "Oh, please, please, let it go down, let it go down." No, come on, just
Oh,
this time.
I still do it. I'm like, man, like, especially in the options because they move a lot slower than small caps. So I'm like, I'm sitting there being patient. I'm like, come on, hurry up. Like, I know I'm right. Just do it already. You know what I mean? And so I
Yeah,
still do it.
yeah,
So,
exactly. And one time I remember I was saying like this, please, please, please. And my mom, she's a trader. She was next to me and said, what are you saying? What are you saying? You don't pray for this. You did the wrong trade. Just stop it. Like push that button. And instead it was no, a little bit more, a little bit more. And then you see minus 5,000, 6,000, 7,000. So that is something never to do it, guys. Like don't pray really. Just trade, hit that button and get out of your position.
well, that brings up another good point is that after the trade, you didn't blame anyone. You didn't blame it was the market. You didn't blame it was an algo. You didn't blame it was anything else. You're
I
like
know.
it
I
was
knew it
it
was
was
me.
my own fault.
I
and
knew it
uh,
was me.
and I think that once you get to that point in your trading that there's everyone says this market conditions or that it's algos or manipulation or anything.
Bullshit.
It's not. So that you have to have this unsurmounting amount of accountability on yourself to that you're going to hold yourself accountable to anything that happens, and eventually get tired of your own bullshit when you lose. This stupid story that you're telling yourself that it's a reason for something else other than yourself, and then when you start taking accountability for it, that's when you start seeing like, okay, like I'm making these gains now, like we're building momentum. And that's I think that's very very huge, is that like I said, just huge amount of accountability, that it's no one else's fault on your own. No one made you press the button to get into the trade. You know what I mean?
It's
So
true, Alex, because the first thing is you don't have to lie to yourself in this case. Before I said, okay, lie a little bit to yourself about you will become millionaire, you will do it. Okay, that's good. But when you have to recognize your errors, no, you have to be honest. You cannot blame. I cannot blame because I took BVPR because I don't know Trump made a tweet. No,
exactly,
I know that I have my rules. I have my strategy. If I step out of the strategy, I know I'm in danger zone, not comfort zone. So I have to blame only myself. And then you get like maybe pissed off a little bit because you did that, but you have to recognize it. So be honest to yourself and work on your weak points. If your weak points are because you enter a short, for example, too early because you have a FOMO, how many traders out there are like, oh, this is moving, this is going 100%. I have to start to short it. And who tells you it will stop 100%? Look, CODX. Look, all these big movers. We have 200, 300, 400%, third, fourth day movers. And you start that early. No, take backside and wait. Take it long for the run. And so recognize yourself on time, because otherwise it's just like losing money. It's like if you go gamble casino.
exactly. So I got a couple of more things here. So if you could go back, like right, if you go back and you tell yourself you're a brand new trader, right? Um, what would be the like top three things you would tell yourself as a brand new trader? Now knowing that you have all the experience and everything, if you could go back and just kind of slap yourself upside the head and say like, hey, like if you do this, you would be more profitable, 100 times.
First thing, get in J Trader room and Alex Fernandez room.
There you go.
Okay, so honestly, will be before putting your money in a trade, do it paper till you have a profitable strategy and then start small. The errors of all the traders right now is that they have a 5K account, 3K account, 50K account, whatever. They start right away with money. They take maybe the first two green wins, and then they start like putting more money, and then whoop, account zero. So that first you have to study knowledge, invest in yourself. Second, second will be create rules. So you have, for example, you're trading large caps. There are like 10 different patterns, 15 different patterns out there that are working. So find one that it works, put your rules and respect them. Only when those rules are met, trade the setup. Otherwise, stay there, sip your BCAA with water or whatever, and and simply like avoid all the rest. Doesn't pay. The third thing is to find really the right community that can help you to improve, and not that does that job for you. So you come over here and you said, okay, can you give me an alert, long, sell? No, that won't work. What happened if that day I take 10 trades and nine work, and then I take the 10th one and I take even a small position? You come in and you take only the 10th trade and you lose and you blame me. No, so you need uh, rules, strategy, and then ensure a team that helps you, surrounds you, and that teaches the right things to improve. For me, these are the three of the main things that if I would have gone, if I would have done that time, I would be probably not more profitable, but I would have achieved my success earlier.
It would have cut your learning curve.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
I think I agree with that a lot. Is especially with the I think it's so with members they want to do what you're doing. So like they want to adopt my rules, but my rules are put there for my personality. So like my traits as a trader. You know what I mean? I think eventually you start making your own rules, right? So like if compared to your own personality, because I might not have the same issues that you have in trading, and so I think it's you want to be spoon fed like these answers, like because these are my rules, but it's also you got to look out for, and that's why journaling is so important, right? So your rules come from journaling, and seeing these trends and the way that you trade, and then you develop them for yourself, not because your mentor or someone's telling you to do it. You know what I mean?
For sure.
So I think that's absolutely great. Um, who's your favorite? Not so I know everyone does. The follow Friday like on Twitter, but you
Yeah.
personally, whose Twitter feeds do you like to see like for trading?
For trading, I will say the first Mark Minerini because it gives me a lot of mental aspect. He analyzed good the market. He's a very good trader. Um, the second one I would put probably um, probably Peter Robbins because also gives like some perspective on the process that you have to adopt. I would say also um, there are like four or five guys. I don't want to like, not to say somebody and then he gets offended. So I would call those two at first, and then like so other guys, so many guys, but basically not traders that are posting their trades. More like theoretical stuff, more like discipline, more like regarding process, more like regarding maybe um, an emotion, in your trading, so psychology, this kind of stuff, this kind of stuff.
So this question's more for myself because I'm going to be a little bit selfish now that I got your attention. so uh, there's no mentor for us mentors. Like there's no school for us to go and to teach trading. Like you know what I mean. There's nothing for us to do that. Um, So for you, like I find it really hard for me to develop my own trading, right? So for me to, make time to be able to, develop my trading when I'm still helping all my members and I'm still, do my marketing and I'm doing, all this stuff for my room and stuff. So how and then on top of that, I mean, you have your family. You know you're married. You know you have stuff that you're doing. So how do you balance all of that stuff? Because I mean, it's man, I'm up till midnight and I wake up at 4 in the morning and I'm still feel like I don't get nothing done. So
I plan my things every night, man. I plan everything every night for the day after. It seems like, sometimes it's a little bit too much routine, but this is what I like. Always been like this, even before trading, already when I was doing like martial arts or when I was doing like only training. And I like to give 100%. I need to sleep those 6 7 hours. Otherwise, I don't know how you do it. But otherwise I won't be profitable. I won't be like successful. I won't be like ready with my mind. Six hours enough. And then right away in the morning, start my cardio, fasted cardio. Then I eat, go to the gym 7 per week, and come home, fast, eat again, and then start like working my 12 o'clock, which is your like 7, sorry, 6 a.m. New York. So you're 4, and then I work till the close of New York. But when it's 10 o'clock in the evening, you can come, with a barrel to pick me up and bring me to the bed because I'm simply dead, like cardio training 1 hour and a half and working then 10 hours. I'm done. I'm done. I'm done. Before it
exactly.
was like only working for myself. So, I work maybe the first 2 hours, then I can relax a little bit. But when you have a room, you know yourself, if you care for your team members, you know, and not just you stay there 30 minutes and then fuck everybody, I go to enjoy your money for subscription. Not like that. You have to give them something, and you have to make sure they're like trading good, and you have to make them you're following them. Otherwise, everybody is good to get a fee and put that in the pocket. It doesn't work like that. If you care for the job you do and for if you respect for your members, and I know you do it as well, then you stay there, you follow them, you help them, you answer their questions. You don't behave like a cocky person that knows everything, but you simply like help your community.
Exactly. So like I think both me and you could care less how many people you have in the room. It's more about the quality of traders that you make. And there's been a few. I've said this a couple times. Where there's just some assholes that sign up, and I'm like, here's your refund. You know what I mean? Like I don't need you in here. So I would rather give my attention to someone that deserves it and that actually really wants to work for it. But I know you got to get going here pretty soon. If we want to take some questions, there's a guy here on YouTube. He says, question on shorting front side. Would like to more about adding into your position. I traded GNPX a couple weeks ago and I was shorting on the front side. Even though I had good covers and I avoided getting caught in the big rips, my chart looks like a Christmas tree. Please talk about what to do when you're fully scaled in and stock starts to go the other way. Thanks, guys.
Okay. So I guess you started trading GMPX on the 11th or 12th or 13th. So whatever you're trading a small cap and you take your daily resistance, first thing you have to look for above the gap. Let's say the gap today was 180, all right, 180, 170, the first day GMPX. Look, if you have a very big daily resistance. Big daily resistance means that you have maybe $2 to $53, a huge amount of volume trading in the past. If you have that, you can start trading the first front side when it's getting into that resistance. Small, one third, one fifth of your position. Then you can take a trend line break, and then you can add it there on the backside. If this moves holds the first day, so if it closes above the open the first day, so it's green, and the second day you have a gap up, and on that gap up you break the pre-market high, then 80% with my trackies of these small caps, especially when they're flow rotated and shorts are squeezed, right? So trapped from the days before, then it will go for a second, third, fourth day. So what you have to do is to basically look at a higher time frame, take a 15 minutes. I use my J lines over here, and I would like to show you that the backside yet only on the crack of the 19th. So use a longer time frame. Look when you have that cut, retest that cut, for example, trend line break, retest the trend line break, and then you have the backside. And you can do this not with a 1 minute chart, you have to do this maybe with a 15, 30 minute chart, hourly chart. So for overextended plays, you can see the backside. And a lot of traders love to add and scale, add and scale. I think for me, the best way is to scale out or scale down when I'm in a losing position. For example, you're like front side, let's say 2,000 shares on GMPX, small position into daily resistance, and you see that you have particular high volume before the daily resistance. So you know that if it breaks out, can push right away 20, 30 cents. Don't be afraid. Scale down. You can always re-enter on the backside if that is working. Otherwise, you'll be like caught on a breakout, squeezed, and you will get like fully squeezed with your full size, and that is a higher damage. You can always re-add.
So I think if I could take a stab at it, one of my rules, and I actually stole this from someone, and actually they stole it from someone. So you always, some of the best traders steal good best practices from everyone else. But this was in the reminiscence of a stock operator by Jesse Livermore. He said the best trades should walk into profit quickly. The best trades should be profitable very quickly. So if you're adding, and you're losing, that's a very you already know in your gut you know that you're wrong, right? So if you're in this trade, for in small caps, it'd be a lot smaller time frame, right? Um, but if you're in this trade and it's not profitable, it's not going your way, after so long, even without hitting your stop, right? So then, it taking too long is still being wrong. You know what I mean? You should be able to, man, and I haven't heard from him in a little bit, but one of the best guys that helped me out when I was in Jay Trader's room is Senor Fate, and he was excellent at this. Where he would nail those tops and just be patient, and as soon as he was in the trade, he was in profit right away. And this is the best thing that you could do is wait for those entries. And if your trade is not in profit within 2-3 minutes or whatever it is, right? You could always get out and then re-enter later or whatever. So I think that's my best advice is if your trade isn't walking into profit quickly, then just get out and then you could always re-enter. So um,
Exactly.
on mine. Does anyone on the Zoom chat? I believe on the Zoom you guys could chat. I know you guys have your guys' Discord open, or if you guys have any questions for me, like in J Trader's chat, I can answer for you. But yeah, we'll take a few more questions, and then J Trader got to run. I gotta run. I gotta get to church because I gotta repent for all the sins I had this week, and so.
That's nice, buddy. I know.
um,
Yeah.
yeah, so if you guys have any questions, but I think that's a really there's a certain feeling, and I try to and I think in experience you only get it in experience when you know that you're right in a trade, and it's just um, it's stress free, and it's a certain gut feeling that you get when you know that you did the right thing in a trade. And I try to tell it, and it's not something you could teach. Like it's definitely an intuition thing, but I know you know what I'm talking about, right? When you get in the trade and you know that you did everything correctly, and then it's working in your favor. And I try to, and but you also there's another feeling where you just feel stressed, and you know that you forced that trade, the FOMO and things. And I try to teach you, that knowing how you feel when you're in a trade, because your intuition knows, like your intuition knows above all else, um, what's wrong and what's right. So, and to your point, Jay, this it freaking amazes me, like traders like you that could recall tickers from weeks ago and know the levels and know the dates and everything. I
Who
can't
told
do
you
that.
this, bro? It's true.
It's I can't do that. Like my memory just sucks, and I have to go and I have to reference my charts, and I annotate my charts. But at the same time, I think that um, it's an edge for me because I don't build an emotional attachment or emotional distress. Like when I lose, like I forget the losses pretty quickly because my memory just sucks that bad. So but
Bro,
I'm always
I
amazed.
marked my losses on the wall. BVPR is over there,
Oh man, I yeah. So like yeah, it just amazes me. Like I pointed out you and Alex Temes, that in some other traders that just could point out and they have a photographic memory of every single tick. and it's absolutely. I wish I could do that. That's awesome. Like I'm just like, oh, I traded. I think I traded Tesla today. I was like, I don't know. You know what I mean? So, um,
Okay, as long as it worked for you, that's fine.
yeah.
Buddy, we
So
have a question from a friend over here, Exito. I think is for you and for me, for both. What is your most favorite setup? You want to start?
my most favorite setup. So in big caps for options, like when we had the I call it the Trump market where everything was just going up, like everything was easy before this last week. So when you have a strong pre-market, so you can see like a strong trend in the pre-market, and then there's pretty good volume in the big caps, and then what you get is a dip to a whole number or support, and then it rips back up. So Tesla did it a lot on its way up. I call it the dip and rip. So it'll come up, and then everyone that was holding overnight will take profit, right? So they take that profit, and it'll dip a little bit, and then it catches that support, and then that's where you buy on that support. Once it holds, you could get those contracts, and then it just rips right up. Another one, the other one that I've been using this week, that I actually stole, and I don't know if he'll listen to this, but thank you, Chicana trader Stan Guzman. And he didn't teach it to me. I just by what look at everyone's charts, guys. Like look at everyone's charts and reverse engineer their thought process behind it. Because this is all I did when I looked at his charts. Whenever there's a weak open, um, if he didn't catch that weak open on the first candle, what the ticker will do, especially on the big caps, is catch support, come up and test the VWAP, or go from red to green. And at that red to green or the VWAP, then that's a good space to go ahead and actually get short or grab puts, and then for the continuation to go ahead and go down because it shows the weakness that there's not enough buyers to go ahead and get it into the green or get it into a bullish setting to keep on pushing it up. And
Yeah,
it's
like you're trading into overhead resistance.
exactly. That's a really good setup, and it's uh, 90% of the time it works every time. So, well, not 90%, but it's pretty high up there, and like I said, it's really safe. You know what I mean? It gives you those levels of being really safe,
Yeah,
and
you
then
have a low risk.
exactly. So, those are my favorite setups.
So my favorite setup is gap and crab on the small caps. So when basically there's like a fluff news, recycle news, something that has low volume. You have a lot of overhead resistance. I know that that is a very good short. You wait for that pop and open, cannot get to pre-market highs, so I know they're too short with very low risk, and I simply love them. And the other one is always for small caps when we have like use manipulation. The first 45 minutes out of the gate generally happens between 9:40, 10:30. We have like a lot of short sellers below VWAP, but basically the price is holding, and we start seeing higher lows. Well, be prepared for a squeeze. This happened so much in the last week on alt, on HPI, CODX, and all these big movers. Like trap made from the big hands, and then you take a long.
So for this type of market that we're in, like, because I mean, like I said, experience beats everything, and I went through the cannabis bubble with you, being in your room, and now and then the fall in 2018 in December, um, and so what would you say like are the best? So for my members, what I've been saying is like um, the base hits and the people that don't try to be heroes in this market, even though there's bigger, more opportunities, more volatility, everyone's winning around you. Um, I've been saying that the people that don't try to be heroes are the ones that are going to go ahead and be the best off after all this is done because once you
That's
come
true.
in and you put too much size or you think this is going to be a winner, that's when you get worked. And what's your best advice for like the current market conditions going into this week?
It's basically, I really agree what you said. For me, it's only sticking to your process, not going crazy because every morning you see like 50 big movers between small caps, option, large caps, or like gold going down 100 points, or CL passing from 54 to 45, which is something crazy in the last 2 weeks. For me, it's respecting always your setups. Always have your risk management. Don't oversize right now. Don't oversize. Wait that volatility, like gets narrow like a couple of weeks ago, and have set risk management. What does it mean? That every time you enter a trade, you know where you have to get out and how much dollars you will lose if that stop loss is hit. And every time you're going to add, even for those ads, or you have an average and you scale out break even, or for each different ad, you will have a different type of stop loss. So that prevents like blowing up from a larger stop than how you figure out before, because you start with a position 1000, you add 500, 500, 500. Then if when you use the same stop loss you have like placed it before, won't be anymore like for example those 200-300 bucks will be much more. So each ad you have, always know that you need another stop loss lever for those ads.
Yeah, I think that's a big thing is that in that I've seen a lot of like traders I respect, that are on Twitter. There's a lot of you guys would not believe the awesome traders that are not on Twitter. So and you start working well, and you do right. These the good traders, and the people that want to share knowledge, they'll find you. So like you don't necessarily have to go too far. So that's what happened to me is the right people found me like Jay and Smash and all the guys off of Trader, that off of Twitter that helped me. And um, so it's I think it's like I said, the accountability and knowing yourself to know when your setups are conducive to the market, right? So you're not going to go and be like shorting everything when you have this huge
Yep.
bullish market. And that's the one thing is that with some of the best traders I've seen this week say, I don't know what the heck is going on. I don't know, what's going to happen, and they're just, taking smaller size. If they're still trading, or just watching sidelines until, because we're going to get a huge bounce, like, and it's probably going to, screw over everyone. Especially on the big side, on the big caps. It's we're going to get a pretty huge bounce one day, and you're going to see a lot of hurt feelings probably around. So.
And
Um,
you will hear like Elon Musk coming out saying, "I got you again, shorts."
exactly. We'll get another spaceship emoji. So
That man is a genius. That
I
man is a
I really
genius.
like him, but yeah. So man, and then I love him as an entrepreneur. I really look up to him and stuff. So but I'm gonna let you start going. I know you want to go spend the evening with your family, Jay.
Yeah, I think she's there. She's there already.
Is she? Oh man, see, I told you guys. But I really appreciate you. Like I was like took a whole weekend where I asked everyone to come and do this with me, and you were like, "Hey, buddy, let's do this right away." So I really appreciate it. Like I said,
Thank you,
um,
buddy, as well. We can make another time as well.
yeah,
And really nice to pass some time with you, exchange ideas.
yeah, exactly. And if your members are always welcome with me. If you guys want to come check out with me. So, my guys, I tell them all the time too, like, hey, you guys want to go learn Jay's thing? Like, I'm not going to steal it from him. You know what I mean? Like, that's his
It's
bread and
always
butter.
nice to improve, vice versa. You add
Exactly.
something, I add something. That's nice.
Exactly. So, but thank you, brother. I really, even not just for doing this today, but for all the knowledge and, for being just a genuine person. I mean, even when I was in your room, you were always helping me. You were always, messaging back and everything, and just a real genuine person. So
Thank you
I
very much,
appreciate
buddy.
you.
By
So
the way, there's Pedro saying hi to you. He was over here with all my guys listening to you,
hey there,
and he's saying hi on Discord.
Pedro's a beast, man. He helped me out a lot when I transferred over from to options, and then we kind of we're doing really good. So yeah, I appreciate all you guys. Pedro Fata. I don't know if he says he's at 7 points now, but um, the thing that I did when I was in your room, and this might be a little like insider tip for you guys. I was like, who's the biggest, baddest motherfucking trader in this room? And I was like, let me make him my friend. And at that time, it was Fate, and
Yeah,
he's really quiet. I don't know if he's still in there, but he's really quiet.
he's still in here,
And so
and he's working for 7 Point Capital.
so
So very good buddy, good friend, very good person.
I kept on bugging him until he's like, okay, I'm not gonna get rid of this guy. So I might as well help. And so that's a thing is that keep on being persistent to someone that can help is awesome. And then Fatu showed me one time that he hit a 90% win rate for a whole quarter for 3 months or something like that.
Hmm.
which is absolutely nuts, guys. Like, to be a successful trader is a feat in itself, right? So even if you hit 70% or whatever, but for you to nail, be green 9 out of 10 trades, not days, 9 out of 10 trades, guys, is absolutely nuts. So that I definitely feel honored and blessed to learn from people like you and Fatih. So, thank you very much.
Thank you very much, buddy. You're doing a great job, and we can see you again next week.
Yeah, bro. Yeah, we can
Okay?
keep on doing it every week if you want. We'll get different topics and take questions and whatever you like. So,
Okay.
all
Have a
right,
good day, buddy.
you
Have
too.
a good Sunday, and thank you everybody for joining us.
Yep. See you guys.
Thank you.